I've been quite the little busy beaver, and I filmed it all to share with you guys. What is up, you guys? Happy Saturday. Welcome back to another meal prep video. My name is Kira if you are new. And like I said, today I'm sharing with you some meal prep. I've been quite the little busy beaver putting together a bunch of stuff in my kitchen that I wanted to share with you. I have mentioned time and time again that meal prep is the key to my successful week, and we have been ridiculously busy the past few weeks, and so I have really and truly relied on all of the meal prep that I've been able to put together. So I have some brand new recipes to share with you guys, some old recipes that we've tweaked, some borrowed recipes, some Pinterest recipes, so much to share with you guys. I hope you guys are ready because I feel like I have a ton of meal prep inspiration this time. So for our first recipe, we're going to incorporate one of my absolute favorite loves into something that Vanessa just recently shared in one of her meal prep videos. So on the stove right now, I have a pot of already boiling water. And then in the bowl, I have some of the Wild Wonder cherub tomatoes. I have some fresh basil from Trader Joe's. I also have Trader Joe's cheese tortellini, and then their marinated fresh mozzarella cheese. So it's just mozzarella balls that are in this delicious and delectable olive oil with all of these herbs in it. And we're just going to make ourselves a cold pasta salad. So now that the water is boiled and ready, I added a tablespoon of olive oil. It just helps for stickage, and good salted water. And then we're going to dump in that cheese tortellini and we're going to let it cook. The package directions say like 5 to 7 minutes. So once it's done, I put it in a strainer and I let it chill until it was completely not hot anymore. We do not want it to melt the cheese. And then once it was done, I just dumped it in over those cherub tomatoes, and I dunked that entire container of the cheese and the herbs and the olive oil right on top, and then I added some basil. You can easily chop the basil on a cutting board with a knife if you're looking for more even regimented pieces, but I just like it when it's more rugged, and I just enjoy just taking the basil and ripping the little pieces out. I get to rip the full stem and just use the good healthy leaf part and chop it up that way. I don't know. I just enjoy that, but you can get the basil chopped down any way that you like and then put it on top, and then that's it, you guys. We're going to give it a good mix. You're going to throw the lid on it and chill it in the refrigerator and then serve it just like that. I do find the longer it sits in the refrigerator, the better the flavor gets because everything marinates, but the pasta does absorb the oil. So you may need to add a little bit of olive oil to keep it wet, but otherwise it really is a great pasta salad to keep in the fridge alongside of a sandwich. All right, now I'm going to share with you making my guacamole. This is probably one of my favorite recipes. This is the recipe that I share in the newest cookbook that I wrote with Vanessa, although I add pomegranate seeds because it's more of a Christmas guacamole, but this is still the key to the best guacamole. So I have some red onion here. You need a good amount. I like a good amount of onion. We need salt. Salt is huge in our guacamole. I have 3 avocados here, a lemon, I have some garlic, and then 2 of the really yummy tomatoes that we absolutely love. And so that's it. That's all you're going to need. And I promise you, this is going to make a fabulous guacamole. So we're going to start off by making our garlic paste. Now I do buy garlic paste in a tube at places like Aldi and stuff, and I've tried it for this recipe, but it's just not the same because even organic garlic paste that are simple ingredients, there's nothing like just garlic and salt. And so you're going to smash the garlic and then you're going to dice it, and you're going to continue to keep doing that by adding salt. Salt is going to break down the texture of that garlic and it's going to get it pasty. So you'll notice with my knife that I dice it as small as I can get it, and then I keep using the side of a big flat chef's knife and I just keep smashing it until eventually I get this paste that you're going to add just to your avocados. Avocados are not the greatest flavor unless you season them well, at least in my opinion. I could never just eat just raw avocado. I don't like it like that. But if you season avocado right, even those who don't like avocado will still like it. So I like to take this really yummy, garlicky, salty paste and add it to my smashed avocados. However, once I started dicing into these, I realized they just were not ripe enough. You can see by how lime green they are. They were super hard. I couldn't get it off of the stem. So I shared the skin, sorry, not the stem, the skin. But I wanted to share with you guys that even if you dice it and slice it and try and smash it, it is almost impossible to do anything with an unripe avocado. So I ended up just taking what I had left and putting it in a brown paper bag. Sometimes you can stick it with a banana. That'll help ripen them too. And I just went ahead and prepped the rest of the ingredients. This way, when that was ripe, we were ready to go. So I diced all of our red onions down. Again, not uniform, because I personally prefer the various different size of chunks, I guess. And then I pushed that paste off to the side. I really would have preferred to just add that to the avocado, but since we were just combining all of our ingredients, I just threw it in there with the onion. I diced the tomato. I sliced my lemon in half. I threw everything in the Tupperware and put those avocados off to the side until they were ready. So once they were ready, this is what a good, delicious, perfectly creamy avocado should look like. If you can slice it on the inside like that and just use a spoon and spoon everything out so it comes out in these little bitty chunks, then you know that you have a perfect avocado. So once we have gotten the chance to open up all three of our avocados, we're going to go ahead and dice it up as fine as we can. And then I use the very same process that I used to smash that garlic to smash the avocados. Everything is all about knives, you guys. I have my favorite knives that I use linked in my Amazon store below if you want to check them out. But getting something good on your cutting board has a lot to do with your knife and time and patience. It took 10 minutes to make that paste and 5 minutes to cut these avocados down to continue to get that really creamy texture. I could have put it in like a food processor or something like that, but in lieu of not wanting to drag out another appliance, just using a good knife and a cutting board and being able to get it all mashed to that great consistency. Just a little bit of salt I added to that since I didn't get to add that garlicky, salty mixture directly to it. Because again, avocado is everything when it's good and salty. And then I squoze in all of that lemon. I know squoze is not a word. It's my word. I love it. And then I gave everything a good mix. It is the best guacamole, you guys. And then with Jake's love for tahini and these fried onions, I decided, hey, what the heck? I'm going to throw a little tahini on top and some fried onions. And Jake asked me to make this for him every single week and put it in little cups for him to take to work. So you know that mama will be doing exactly that for him, especially when we hit it on the head with something that we love. Speaking of hitting it on the head with something that we love, we decided to try out some new granola bars this time. Last time I used the Safe Fair Honey Crisp Apple granola and made my own granola bars, and everybody absolutely loved them. But I still had the Safe Fair Strawberry Shortcake one that I had gotten a few months before that. I had used some personally myself and some yogurt, but we wanted to try in granola bars. So I have coconut brown sugar, vanilla, butter, some honey, and some white chocolate here. And we're going to make our own granola bars. So I took about 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter and I melted it in a saucepan, and then I added in a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and we're going to get that melted onto the stove. And once it begins to get all bubbly, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in the honey. So I went ahead and added just a 1/2 cup of honey. All the measurements are pretty much the same. And then 1 tablespoon of vanilla, and we're going to whisk that together. And now you're going to see that it's just going to puff up and bubble and almost make this caramel. Once you get that consistency, I turned the heat off. I left it on the range, but I turned the heat off and I put in 2 cups of that Safe Fair Strawberry Shortcake granola. You can use any flavor you want, and a 1/2 cup of coconut. I mixed that in, and then I mixed in a 1/2 cup of those Ghirardelli white chocolate chips that they're really melting wafers, but I cut them roughly so that we would have chunks, but it was still hot, so it kind of melted into that, and it gave like a chocolatey flavor within. I kind of wanted chunks, but it still worked. I took a 9x9, sprayed it with some cooking spray, tray and then added that mixture to it and then stuck it in the fridge for about 2 hours. My note here for you guys is that once you stick it in the fridge and it solidifies, let it kind of get to room temperature before you cut it, because I really struggled here trying to get this out. It took me quite some time using a knife and trying with a pizza cutter and everything to try and get this to where I needed it to be. But eventually we did. We got it out, and then I bagged it up into individual snack bags and I placed them in my like granola bar bin that we have in the pantry. These will last in your pantry for like, I would say about 4 weeks this way. There's nothing in this recipe that isn't shelf stable. I do put them in the refrigerator though after a couple of weeks if we don't eat them, but when you put them in the refrigerator, they go back to getting hard again. And my kids really like that soft, chewy consistency. They prefer more of like a chewy granola bar. So when it's too hard, they're not huge fans. But I did end up getting, I believe, 10 bars out of this, and the kids just love them. I can definitely see myself making granola bars for a long time coming. However, my kids still prefer like the cereal bars and that kind of texture. All right, now we're going to make snack boxes, which I pretty much make with you guys quite often, but I like sharing them because every single time they're different, you guys. It literally is whatever you have in the house that you want to pull together that's going to be quick for you to grab, that you won't grab crap instead. So I have some leftover roast beef and turkey there, some pepperoni, I have blackberries and strawberries, I have mangoes, I have nuts, I have some rice cakes, I have tahini, I have those pomodoro peppers that are stuffed with cream cheese and little bits of jalapeno. I get that from Costco. They're delicious. I have my own homemade pickles. I have the Trader Joe's dark chocolate almond butter pretzel nuggets. I have some Greek vanilla yogurt. I have mayo right there that I'm going to use for my meat slices. I have some Cliff Bars and the peanut butter banana. I've had those for a while. I like them, but I never seem to go to grab them. So I thought if I put them in a snack box, then I will eat them, if that makes any sense. But otherwise, you guys, that's it. But you can use whatever works for you. It is good to have silicone liners and containers to keep something separate, or if you have meal prep containers that have divided sections, that might be helpful for you also. But I'm going to start out with the mango slices and the tahini. Let me tell you, tahini with mango, you guys, is off the charts. It is so good. It is such a contrast of flavors, and I really, really enjoy that. So I went ahead and took what I had left of this mango and tahini and put it in the meal prep containers. So now our next step is to add some protein. So I had some roast beef left over from making those Arby's sandwiches. I didn't want them to go to waste. There was 3 pieces left. So I threw a little bit of mayo on there and rolled it up. I absolutely love mayo. I know it's probably not the greatest thing for you, but mayo and a little bit of cold cuts, and I can eat that all the time. I don't need bread or anything. We had some honey turkey left over from making Monte Cristos, so I added some mayo to that. And then these are the little 3-ounce souffle cups. I'm sure you can buy them at like Sam's Club and stuff, but when we used to run that pizza restaurant, we literally have things that we have still had for 10 years now, because we had so much of it in bulk that we've just had it forever. I took 2 of those and filled them with nuts. I put some pickles in there, some of those pomodoro peppers with the cream cheese, and then I threw a Cliff Bar on top and then threw the lid on, you guys. So I had pretty much the same thing, except one had turkey and one had roast beef. Those are just perfect for me to grab out when I'm hungry. And so I took 2 more. I usually only do 4 at a time, because then sometimes the things inside go bad or get soft, and then it's a waste. And then in these containers, I put 2 silicone liners, and then in one container did some chopped up strawberries, and then in the other container I did some blackberries, and then in those little silicone liners I put some of that Greek vanilla yogurt, and then I figured I could just take the fruit and dump it into my yogurt. I thought that sounded really yummy. And then I took some more of those souffle cups and I added those dark chocolate peanut butter almond fudge pretzels. I thought that would be nice. I added a pepperoni to one of mine with a little bit of pistachio nuts, and then I'm going to add a rice cake to the top of that in like a little sandwich bag so that it doesn't get soft. And I figured I would add some of that drizzly peanut butter that I got from American Dream Nut Butter. I was so excited about that. So the whole rice cake thing was just really just on my radar for something I wanted to try. And then for this one, I added a little bit of the honey ham that I had left from those Monte Cristos with some more pistachio nuts, and then another one of those rice cakes. And so now here are all 4 of my snack boxes in my backup refrigerator. Please don't mind the dirty fridge. I definitely need to wipe that down. And then I also made some tuna fish. I didn't film that because I just shared that in a past video, so I'll link it up above if you guys want to see it. But there's a secret ingredient that I put in the tuna that we absolutely love. We always put red onion in because I really love the bite of red onion, but my husband really loves green apple. And between both of those, it's like a tangy and a sour and a sweet, and it adds a really yummy, crispy crunch to that tuna fish. And we just really enjoy that and like to have that for the week for sandwiches. Now we're going to go ahead and make a really fun cookie that I wanted to give the kids for their St. Patrick's Day lunches. This was inspired off of a Pinterest recipe that I found, so I'll link that recipe for you guys down below. And I will also encourage you to go over and just check out my Pinterest, because 90% of the new recipes that I share come inspired from Pinterest, but all the exact measurements are there. But what I loved about these hot cocoa cookies is that it called for packages of hot cocoa, and I found the Swiss Miss with Lucky Charms marshmallows, and I thought that would be really awesome to just incorporate into this cookie I was already planning on making for the kids for St. Patrick's Day. And so here are those Lucky Charms marshmallows. And then it also asked for dehydrated mini marshmallows that I ordered off of Amazon. So I'll link that in my store. Baking soda, baking powder, flour. We need white sugar and brown sugar. We needed 2 sticks of butter, some vanilla, some salt, some chocolate chips, and 4 packs of hot cocoa mix. I'm using the Swiss Miss. And then you also needed 3 eggs. So a lot of ingredients in these cookies, but that's kind of what happens when you make them from scratch. And I love that because then I get to break out my KitchenAid. So I did 1 stick of butter to 1 sugar at a time. So I did the 1 stick of butter to the 1 cup of sugar, and I creamed that together. And then once that was done, I went ahead and added the next cup of butter and the brown sugar. And then once you get all of that creamed together, then we're going to go ahead and add the extra ingredients. So now the next part of our ingredients are our 3 eggs and then our vanilla. And then we're going to go ahead and cream all of that together. And then we're going to have to add in our dry ingredients. Do make sure to use a spatula and always go along the edges. I find that I forget to do that sometimes, and then I leave a lot of ingredients along the sides unmixed. Like you'll see that later with all of the flour along the edges of this cookie mix that just didn't get incorporated in. But we have a side bowl that we're adding in our flour, our hot cocoa mix, and our baking powder and our baking soda. And we're going to mix this dry mix all together. And then this is the dry mix that we're going to go ahead now and add slowly into the bowl. I will also give another piece of advice to you guys that when you are adding dry mix into a bowl that is spinning like that, or when you put it in first and then you put the mixer on, make sure that you do not do a fast speed. Quite a few times I've put some mix in and then started the KitchenAid mixer way too fast, and then before you know it, things are flying everywhere. But once you have everything incorporated and everything is mixed through, then we're going to start to fold in our other ingredients. So never put anything like chocolate chips, marshmallows, anything like that inside of the KitchenAid. It'll just get destroyed and demolished. You want to fold those things in manually. So I put in the chocolate chips and the 2 different kinds of marshmallows, and we mixed all of those together. And then once that part was done, now we're going to put it in a bowl and chill it in the refrigerator. Any kind of dough really is better handled when chilled in the fridge for like 2 hours or so. So once it's done being chilled, we're going to set the oven for 350 degrees, and we're going to get out 2 sheet pans lined with parchment paper, and you should be able to get 2 dozen cookies out of each mixture. I mean, it's literally the perfect amount of what I was able to get. And then we're going to bake them in the oven for, it really varies. Every oven is so different. It told me to set it for 11 minutes, but I ended up putting it back on for another like 4 minutes. I still kind of thought it was underdone. I should have left it out then. I did put it back in for another 2 minutes, and it ended up being like 16 total. I probably should have stopped at the 14. I think it would have cooked enough outside of the pan and still been cooked but gooey. I do feel like these got a little extra crispy just after a day or two, but still I would prefer a little bit more of a tender cookie in the middle. But overall, you guys, the kids just loved these hot cocoa cookies, and so much so that we just didn't need all the baked goods that I was going to be preparing. So I put some in a freezer bag and labeled it that we froze, and then some I put in a Tupperware. And a key to making a cookie that's a little too crispy for you is to put in a slice of bread or 2. Sometimes you can use crackers, and something super absorbent like that will just suck up all of the moisture, and it'll keep those cookies from getting stale, and for kind of keeping their soft texture as much as you can, then being over crispy. So we ate on them and then froze some, especially since I knew a couple of days later I would be preparing this. This is what Paul said I should market. I mean, he's a junk food junkie, so I know that he just saw all these ingredients and it just sounded yummy to him. But in my opinion, you guys, this was just so delectable. And I think the key to it was the peanut butter. So these are peanut butter fluff bars, and I used the Get Lucky peanut butter from the American Dream Nut Butter Company, and inside of it, it has little Lucky Charms. So the recipe just calls for you to use regular peanut butter, but who's to say that I couldn't use that peanut butter with the Lucky Charms? It just enhanced this recipe by far. So I have a stick of butter here. You'll need a whole container of marshmallow fluff. You'll need some chocolate chips, 1 egg, some vanilla, some flour. You'll need some brown sugar, and then you'll need about 10 to 12 Reese's peanut butter cups. I only used 9. So I got the 12 pack at Walmart, but I only ended up needing to use 9. Again, you guys can use any peanut butter that you want. I am not affiliated with the American Dream Nut Butter, but my friend Nicole is, and I always put her discount code in the description box. So if you go over to their website, then you can just share and use her code and it saves you 10%. But I order from this company every single month, and this is their St. Patrick's Day flavors that just rolled out. So clearly I love them if I just go on, and I am not sponsored by them. But all right, our trusty KitchenAid mixer is back out again, and we're going to put in our 1 stick of butter and our brown sugar as usual, and we're going to cream those together first. Creaming butter and sugar just makes for a really fluffy cookie. So once that is done, we're going to add in a 1/2 cup of peanut butter and 1 egg. Again, this is a recipe I found on Pinterest, so it'll be linked down below for you for those exact measurements. We're also going to add in a tablespoon of vanilla, and then we're going to mix all of that together. You can see the vibrant colors of all of those Lucky Charms in there. I just love that. The kids just got such a kick out of the lunches for this week. It made them super, super happy. And then it was time, once we got all that done, to add our flour. And once our flour is in there, we're going to go ahead and mix that up. Again, you guys, make sure that you're scraping the bowl in between all of these steps so that all of that flour gets mixed in. I'm definitely negligent with doing that, and I feel like it does affect my recipes after. I'm still kind of learning the niche about this whole KitchenAid. I'm not a baker. I love to cook, but baking is still something I'm working on. But once you have scraped everything down and you know you've mixed everything through, now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Fold in those chocolate chip cookies, and then out is my trusty 9x9. Yet again, this poor glass dish gets so much use. I sprayed it with some cooking spray, and then now we're going to take 2/3 of our mixture. It's kind of hard to gauge. Again, this was the first time I was making this recipe, so I kind of had to go back and forth, but you need to make this last the whole bottom. You need to spread it out so it covers the entire bottom, but you still need more to put on top. So this part kind of blew my mind because you're going to put 2/3 on the bottom, but you still needed 1/3 up top, and that still had to be enough to cover the top. But now we're going to layer our Reese's peanut butter cups on top of that. So this is why you can see I could only use 9. It's a 9 by 9. So I was able to do 1 Reese's peanut butter cup pretty much per inch. And then now we're going to layer on that marshmallow fluff. My mistake right here was to not stick that fluff in the microwave and get it a little bit warmer where I could pour that out. It is very hard to work with fluff, so that was definitely my mistake, something I will change in the future. You guys might want to do that as well. It's super sticky, so in order to kind of get it to flow where I want it to flow, if I would have just warmed it just a little bit, 15, 20, maybe 30 seconds in the microwave would have been all that I needed, but not too hot because you don't want it to melt those Reese's peanut butter cups. And then now you can see we need to take our 1/3 and we need to come back and put it on top so that we've sandwiched that marshmallow cream on the inside. So I kind of rolled exactly what I just said, like 1-inch balls, as if I was doing chocolate chip cookies, and kind of put it in each spot and tried to smooth it over. It was I don't want to say it was difficult because I don't want to deter you from making it, but it definitely takes a little bit of practice the first time around to nail this the right way, to kind of gauge the balance of ingredients to dough. The whole ratio has to be something that you have to nail perfectly. But once we went ahead and got our ratio done and everything pressed into the pan, now we're going to go ahead and stick this in a 350-degree oven. I'm not really sure how long we cooked it for. Again, like I said, I'm going to link that recipe for you down below, but wait till you see the creation that we are able to create from this thing once it's done. The way this puffed up when it was done cooking, my mouth hit the floor when I took it out. Oh my goodness. It just warm and delicious, but you really have to let it sit for an hour. This is after an hour and you can see that it was still ooey gooey. It's perfect to let it sit though, because it kind of just finishes cooking and it solidifies, something like I said I should have done with the cookies. And it just, once you let it sit for that hour, it was still soft and gooey, but still all together and cooked through. So you can see we still had a little bit of hot cocoa cookies left over at that time, but I closed this up, I sealed it, I put that away, and then I bagged up 2 of them, and you guys have already seen that in the kids' lunches yesterday. But they just love these, you guys, and Paul was just fighting over every bite. Everybody was like, why did you only make a 9 by 9 of this? They just wanted them. They're so good. They're sweet. You only need a little piece. You guys have to try them. All right, something else you guys need to try. I have to tell you, this whole bottle situation, we've lost 1 bottle so far. I knew we were going to do that, but doing these bottles and my own juices instead of juice boxes is just, it's a money saver. It's a game changer. It's like more convenient. I don't know. I really truly like that. It's less garbage waste. So I'm all about that. But I got some apple juice that I made for the kids, and you can see 1 container. I've made 4 of these apple juices, and I still had half a container of apple juice. So I probably could have made 8 of those, and the apple juice is $2. So you're not getting 8 juice boxes for $2, and juice boxes are not 12 ounces like these are. So these are just, they're wonderful. So I did 4 of the apple juice. I did 3 of the pink lemonade, and I still, again, have even more than a half a container of the pink lemonade in the refrigerator. And then now we're going to do some of that green machine. Again, this was, me prepping last week, getting ready for the kids' St. Patrick's Day lunches. And so this was leprechaun juice that I was making for them, or at least that's what I told them that it was. But it's just a green machine smoothie that I knew my kids would love. But look at those, you guys, an array of beautiful colors. It's all organic. It's everything that I made and put together for my kids. And it's something that I am saving a ridiculous amount of money on. My kids are getting more fluids, which come the hotter months months are going to be even more important, and I'm controlling what I'm giving them. So I'm definitely happy that we made this transition over to the bottles. But okay, you guys, that is it for this time's meal prep video. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along with me on another, I don't know, I think this was about a week and a half's worth of meal prep that I pulled together. But either way, it was awesome. It made getting lunches for the kids together easier because I had snacks already pre-packaged. It helped with making lunch for Jake and for Daryl because I had all of those things available, and snack boxes for me because, you guys, I'm on a journey this year. I need to fix my hair. I need to fix my body. I need to fix my attitude. Like, I am ready for it, and I hope you guys are ready for it too. But thank you guys again so much, like I said, for coming along with me. If you enjoyed this video, give it a huge thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new. I love you guys all so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, you guys.